Good morning, freshmen, and happy Wednesday. I'm excited that today we'll get to keep talking about fractions. It makes me so happy I drew a smiley face. Today we're going to talk about subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. We're going to do it the same way that we've done all week, by drawing a t-chart, finding the least common denominator, changing our fractions, and then subtracting. Let's get started. Just like when I add fractions, I can't subtract fractions unless they have the same denominator. I can't just subtract the numerators and subtract the denominators. Let's say that I started with 3/4 and I wanted to take half of that away. I would remove this half and that would leave me with 1/4. But if I just subtracted across, I'd be left with 2 out of 2, which would mean 1 whole. That's more than I started with, so that can't work. When I subtract fractions, I need to take the same steps I did when I added them. So I'm going to put them into a t-chart, 3/4 minus 1/2. The first thing I need to do is find the least common denominator. What's the least common denominator of 3/4 and 1/2? It's 4. 4 is the smallest number that is a multiple of both 2 and 4. Now I need to change each fraction so that its denominator is 4. Well, 3/4 is already there. I would multiply by 1. How do I change 1/2? So that it's over 4. 1/2 equals what over 4? It equals 2 over 4. 1 times 2 is 2. So now I can do 3/4 minus 2/4, and that gives me 1/4. Let's look at another example. 2/3 minus 3/8. Again, I can't subtract these fractions unless they have the same denominator. So I'm going to put them into my t-chart, 2/3, 3/8. The first thing I need to do is find the least common denominator. What's the least common denominator of 3 and 8? It's 24. Because when I list the multiples of each of these numbers, the smallest one on both lists is 24. So I need to change each one of my fractions so that its denominator is 24. Do that now. 2/3 equals what over 24? And 3/8 equals what over 24? Well, 3 times 8 is 24, and 2 times 8 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24, and 3 times 3 is 9. Now I can subtract my fractions. What's 16 over 24 minus 9 over 24? That's 7 over 24. Let's do another example. This time I've got an improper fraction to subtract. 6 over 5 minus 2 over 3. I'm going to start by drawing my t-chart and putting my fractions in. The same way that I did last time, I need to find my least common denominator. Do that now. What's the least common denominator of 6/5 and 2/3? It's 15. 15 is the smallest number on both lists. So I need to change each of these fractions so that the denominator is 15. I know that 5 times 3 is 15, and 6 times 3 is 18. What is 2/3 when I change it so that it's over 15? It's 10 over 15, because 3 times 5 is 15, and 2 times 5 is 10. Remember, I always have to multiply by the same number in the numerator and denominator. Now I can subtract. What's 18 over 15 minus 10 over 15? I get 8/15. Let's do one more example. 5/6 minus 1/3. What's the LCD of these two fractions? It's 6. 6 is the smallest number on both lists. I know 5/6 stays the same because I can multiply by 1. What's 1/3 when I change the denominator to 6? 1/3 equals 2/6 because 3 times 2 is 6 and 1 times 2 is 2. Now I can subtract. What's 5 minus 2? 5 minus 2 gives me 3/6, but I'm not finished. I need to simplify. What is 3/6 when written in simplest form? I can divide both the numerator and denominator by 3, and that gives me 1/2. So 5/6 minus 1/3 is 1/2.
You've done a great job with this video. Now it's time for practice.